recently participated in telemedicine with my GP. I've got my own blood pressure machine and I send reports by email to my GP. My wife and I monitor our health and our well-being generally. So we like to think that we've taken responsibility. But still, we've got this concern about health unknowns and that of our children and our grandchildren. We are very proud of the NHS, as many of us are in the UK, but the recent coronavirus crisis has made us realise that we need to take even greater responsibility and encourage others to do so too. But to take responsibility about what? I'm not a clinician, so I was delighted to be invited to interview the CEO and founder of the innovative biotech company Forthwithlife. Welcome, Sarah Bolt. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi, Malcolm. Great to meet you.
Lovely to talk to you. And I'm so excited about what you're doing. You are pushing the boundaries, which is really fantastic. So what is Forthwithlife and what do you do for customers?
Well, at Forth, what we always describe ourselves as is a biomarker tracking company. So we basically help people gain scientific insight to what's happening inside their body. So really, it's the health that they can't see. So they're key biomarkers, which are essential for good health. The reason we do this is to help people improve their health and identify those areas that they need to work on. And we do it through enabling them to collect very small blood samples from their fingers. So they're called finger prick samples, which they can collect at home, and then they post it off to our lab to be scientifically analysed.
Excellent. I really am very excited about it because I know it took you a while to get it going because people say, you know, will it work? But it is just of the moment, I believe. So here in the UK, though, we have the super NHS. So why do I need what you are providing, such as, say, diabetes testing?
I think our intention has never been to replace the NHS. You're right, it is a super NHS and we're all very proud of it, and it has a very specific role within society, but that role is sickness care. And as a society as a whole, healthcare is changing and we're moving more towards preventative care and wellness care. We want to kind of maintain as best of health for as long as we can. That's what we're all aiming to do. So Forth was set up to really help people be in their best of health for as long as they can, whilst we leave the NHS to deal with people who actually are sick and need their care. And I think it's impossible to ask the NHS to deal with both of those. I know that from a government standpoint, preventative care is very important, but the NHS is under such strain that their focus has to remain on sickness care. Whereas for ourselves as individuals, we have to take responsibility for the preventative care and for keeping ourselves well.
I love that. Now, I'm getting it now, you know, the do it before it happens type of, you know, know before it happens. Yeah. Now, so how does it all work? Take me through the typical flow of a test through to results.
So someone would arrive at our website and they might arrive at it through various different means, really, in terms of their motivation. So they might have a particular health concern, they might be feeling quite fatigued, or they might, with their family, there might be a family history of high cholesterol, or they might just be intrigued to gain insight about their well-being, and they might be on a mission to try and improve it. So if they come on our website, we have over 20 different health profiles, and it will be from female hormone profiling through to liver health or more general well-being in vitamins and minerals. So you can just select which health profile fits you best. We also allow people to customize their profile, so they can add in extra biomarkers if they want to. Once they've selected that, we will then send a finger prick collection kit direct to their home. They collect a sample at home and then they post it direct into our lab. The lab will analyze it, and really within 24, 48 hours, we will send their results back to them, and it will be on their dashboard, so that they log in onto our platform to view their results. But we make it very easy, both in terms of how to collect the blood sample and get it back to us, because people want convenience. People want to do things at home. They don't want to have to make appointments to go and see people these days.
Yeah.
Very easy to understand. So all the results are presented in graphics, so people can see exactly where they fall on their range. We allow people to compare themselves to others of their same gender and their same age. So within a 5-year age cohort, you can see how others like you, what their results are like. And we give really simple explanations to what the results mean. So part of our mission really as a company was, we always say at the core of everything that we do, we want to be scientifically human. So that is really relying on scientific evidence, but presenting that evidence in a very human form, so people can understand it and then take control themselves and take action on that evidence. So we're trying to demystify science and medicine for people, so they can take full responsibility for their own well-being. And we also have a big team of doctors who help interpret results and will comment on any out of range results for people, because we don't want people feeling anxious if they get a result that's in the red. So it's, from our own duty of care point of view, it's up to us to really explain what the results mean for people and what action they can take.
Yeah, I love that simplification as well, because I simplify the tablets I take into, make it something that it's not, so that I can try to remember. Never mind. I noticed that you've recently developed a COVID-19 antibody test. So how does that work, and what does it tell me? Because I'm getting very confused about all these testings.
It has been confusing with people, especially with all the changes in rules and what applies to one country and what applies to another. And we thought we were living in a nation without borders, and suddenly we're not. So it has been very confusing. So I think that the best thing to remember is there's 2 main tests currently available with COVID-19. And that is what is a swab test, which tells you if you currently have the virus. And there's the antibody test, which tells you if you've had it in the past. So we offer the antibody test, and that tells you basically if you've had a past infection of COVID-19, and it tells you if your body has built up antibodies to it. So when you're testing for that, it's best to do the test 21 days after the first onset of symptoms, because your body needs time to react to the virus and build up antibodies. So for us, I think it gives people certainty that they've had the virus, because a lot of people, there's a lot of different viruses around in the winter and in spring, and because some people are asymptomatic as well, there's that doubt in their mind, did I have it? Was that COVID-19? Was it not? So this, the antibody tests, and they're very accurate as well. So they're over 98% accurate. So they can tell you with some confidence that yes, you have had it, or no, you definitely haven't had it, and your body has built up antibodies. I think it's really important to say, though, at this point, the world scientific community, we don't know whether does that confer immunity. We don't know that yet. We need more data, and to gather more data for it, or for how long it might confer immunity for. But I think from a public point of view at the moment, it provides people with some certainty around, did I have it, and if I did, kind of my body, this is how my body reacted, and I got through the other side of it.
Yeah, I think, by the way, that your pricing is very sensible for the terrific service you're offering there. Now, I know that as a man, I'm not typical, as I take all the well-man tests, yeah? I'm worried about myself too much, Too many, I suspect, older people shy away from taking action on health issues out of fear. Are we seeing a change in this thinking from those who are more digitally aware, like the younger generation?
Oh, without a doubt. absolutely, without a doubt. I think, you know, the younger generation who have been brought up digital and have arrived at the digital world as well at a time where digital healthcare has really sprung up as an industry and within its own right. So, you know, we've got, as you say, telemedicine, we've got remote GPs, we've got remotes, you can prescriptions kind of do to your doorstep, you know, Dr. Google, you know, are, you know, Googling health conditions all the time. So healthcare is one of the most searched kind of categories within Google. So people are taking much more interest in their health. This has been fueled by digital, the rise of digital, and I think kind of a more of a kind of the eradication of traditional models of care, which digital has enabled, and people to say wanting more control and want to be in more control of their own data and the knowledge around that. So definitely this is being led by the younger generation. In terms of our customer base, we are more younger than older. So our biggest demographic is those between 35 to 44. So those in that age, but our second demographic is the 25 to 34. So, and they are increasing. And I think within a couple of years, they will have actually have overtaken the next cohort above them. So there's a really big interest from the younger people, which I think is great for the future of healthcare. If people are interested and take better care of themselves, because you know, we have got an aging demographic, and that is putting a lot of pressure on the NHS. And also we've got these massively increases in diabetes too. So, you know, by 2025, I think it's estimated that we'll have 5 million people in the UK who are diagnosed with diabetes 2. And it's currently costs the NHS over £170 million a week to treat these people. Wow. So you could kind of how the movement towards well-being, how that can be of great benefit to NHS and NHS budgets.
Yeah. I think there's a danger, by the way, in Dr. Google. I was sure the other week I'd got Blackwater fever. You know.
There is, yes, absolutely. There is a danger, and that's, you know, for us as a service, we try and give that evidence base towards it, because the danger with Google is, or, you know, we've seen, you know, the last couple of years, you know, fake news and the rise of fake news. You want to be sure that who you're talking to and who you're getting this advice from, A, it's grounded in scientific evidence, and B, they are an appropriate person to give that advice. So with our service, we enable that to happen.
Yeah. Well, we'll not talk about a certain president in the US who thinks it. I know that companies will have annual health tests for their employees and even random drug tests. But do you see a time when companies, through duty of care responsibilities, or perhaps because of remote working, will insist on their people having dashboards and tests like what you provide?
I think so. I think it's definitely in an area which is going to be increased in terms of corporate health. We've seen it increasing in the areas of mental health. There's a lot of companies being invested in mental health. And I think the move towards remote working, which COVID has forced on us, is going to increase that duty of care from companies, because they're not going to be in such close contact with their employees anymore. And, you know, for sure, there will still be quite a lot of people who will continue working remotely even after COVID-19. So it's definitely going to be an area which is going to increase. We think, yes, first it's the mental health. We've seen that already. I think we've been seeing a growth area in terms of menopause health for women as well within corporates. We've seen corporates having an increasing interest in that and giving more support to women in that area. So definitely, and then we do see this kind of widen it out to kind of more general well-being. I think that we do have actually a corporate dashboard. So we allow corporates to use our service. Of course, we don't give any kind of personal results to corporates, because that's sensitive data, and we wouldn't want people to be discriminated at all by corporates in terms of their own health, but there is a possibility that, you know, we can give corporates an overview of how the general health is of their workforce, or particular areas of their workforce which could do with more support in improving health in certain areas, and help them really to lead their own internal well-being policies.
Yeah, I really applaud you on that one there. So I can see how the value of what you offer, I can see that entirely. But how safe is my private data with you? I mean, there's a lot of talk about cyber hygiene at the moment, cybersecurity because of remote working and so on there. After all, if somebody knows my health issues, that could be exploited by the devious, couldn't it?
It can. So you have to be, because we are dealing with sensitive data, we have to be very, very cautious and have to have all the measures set up to protect people's data and make sure that they're anonymized in whatever fashion we need to, and make sure that from a cybersecurity point of view, we have all the measures set up that prevent that. So, you know, first of all, in terms of all our data is encrypted at rest. So anyone who managed to break into our database, they wouldn't be able to make any sense of it. And the key to unlock that data is held somewhere else. Secondly, we don't share people's data with any third party. There will be parts of the data which our supply partners gain in order to enable us to fulfill the service, but none of our third parties are able to see the full picture of everyone's data. We also allow people to anonymize their data. So if they no longer want to gain access to their data, they can put an anonymization request and we will anonymize their records. And because we're not dealing with DNA, you could never trace that record back to who it belonged. So we have a number of very strict measures in place. We never ever send results or sensitive information via email because it's just not secure enough. So we use AWS actually, and their secure servers for all our data processing.
Yeah, that's Amazon AWS, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And I'm reassured now. So how do you support a customer who may take a test and gets an unpleasant result? Surely that could cause stress and anxiety?
You're right, it can. So we have a number of different measures in place for that to help support people. I think because we are a well-being company, we don't get too many critical results, but there are occasions that we do. And you know, as well as a well-being company, we don't offer any cancer markers or any tests of that nature. We are very much focused on well-being. However, we do get out of range results quite often, and there'll be different degrees of out of range, from it's just moderately out of range to it's very high to it's critical. So we have different stages that we deal with. So if someone had a result which was just moderately out of range, then all out of range results do get reviewed and commented on by a UK registered healthcare professional and a GP. So that's the first stage. If someone has a very high result and that was unexpected, then we will rerun the analysis to make sure, double check that is the actual result. And then the GP will provide advice to that person. And they may, if they're particularly concerned about them, they may ask them to go and set up an appointment with their own NHS GP and take those results with them to show them. The third area, and this is the kind of the highest area, is that we have alerts set up in our system for critical results. So if someone's result comes back over a certain level, that will send us a critical alert. Our lab will also phone us if there's a critical result comes in. And in cases like that, one of our GPs will actually make a phone call to our customer, talk them through the results, and advise them to go and make an appointment with their NHS GP as soon as possible.
Sarah, I can just knock off that little man and lady on my other shoulder the problem and say, go and ask her, because you've just given me total reassurance that you know what you're doing, you've thought it through, and you're very robust. So looking forward a few years, What's your vision for Forthwithlife? What part do you see it playing, and for whom in our daily well-being?
We really see a whole new category emerging. And this category, we've termed it personalized biomarker profiling. And we want to be at the forefront of that. So for us, one test result is great and it tells you where you are now. But the real kind of benefit of what we're doing is to create your own trends over time. And so if we've got multiple data about your biological status, we can then alert you when things start to go off track. So you can then act earlier. So our vision very much is to lead this kind of personal biomarker profiling. Also, this scientifically human is really at our core, and we want to help people understand their scientific results, but also what we want to do is enable them to act. So we want to support them more ongoing with how they can make changes to their life. In the next kind of couple of years as well, one of our key areas of focus is going to be around women's health. We think it's an area that has been overlooked for some time. And so we want to give women a lot more support in health, particularly around hormones. Menopause health is one area that we want to do a lot more work in and help support women, because that has been overlooked. And I think that women who are going through the menopause, they're almost kind of the response to them is almost, oh, you're going through the menopause, everyone does it, you just get on. But it really has really fundamental and detrimental impact on women's health. And, women go through the menopause for about a decade. So it's a long time that women are dealing with this. So that's a really key area that we want to look at, but also hormones in general for women. I think that, again, women are spoken to about hormones really in terms very much of fertility. We want to take it out of that. Actually, female hormones, for men as well, they are very much intertwined with well-being. So let's take the conversation out of it, just talking to them about fertility, and actually talk to people about how your hormones are affecting your general well-being.
Excellent, excellent. What I've just gained from our talking together is not just the mission and vision of your business, but I've gained a really strong sense of purpose about what you're about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a purpose.
Okay. Now, this year, I was going to send you some tickets for the pantomime, but I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. So, but in other words, I'm going to play fairy godmother and give you 3 wishes. What are your 3 wishes for the future of home test kit?
I think my first one would be that we want to make the conversation around what your biomarker results are as well known and as discussed as how you would discuss how many steps you might have done today. We all discuss, what's the steps? How many have we done? I want people to know what their inside health is and actually say, well, hey, have a discussion with a friend and say, well, actually, I've got my vitamin D levels over 50 this month. Isn't that great? So we want to get that in an everyday dialogue and everyday languages, rather than it just be, okay, well, it's those who are kind of leading the way and, those first movers who are doing that. So I think that's the first thing. There are lots of work still to be done around collection of blood samples. So we really want to see the device collection really advance. I think the method that we're using at the moment, which is lancets and microcontainers, they've been around for decades, but there are new devices emerging which will make blood collection very much easier. So devices which literally they'll just go onto your arm, you press a button and they'll extract the blood out and you'll just post that away. So that's what we want to see happening. And it would be really great as well for the home test industry to see the NHS start to adopt more remote ways of testing, because they're a great, I suppose, in terms of credibility. If you've known the NHS adopt it, then you know that it seems that, yes, that's fine. So we'd like to see the NHS looking more towards home testing and what value that can add into the NHS as well.
Excellent. Now, I just want to remind everybody before we finish there that your URLs behind me on the screen there, pop along there. It's such an exciting company that you formed, and I really wish you all the best. You are going to do well because you're of the moment. So Sarah Bolt of Forthwithlife, thank you for the interview today.
That's great. Thank you for having me, Malcolm. It's been a pleasure.